Imagine a desert storm rolling across ancient sands, where Arab warriors ride with dreams of freedom, while foreign powers play a secret game to redraw the world. A betrayal is brewing, one that will shatter empires and give birth to nations. This is not just the story of World War I. It's the hidden war that shaped Syria, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia. And its consequences? They're still burning today.
Wait, you think you already know the truth about the Middle East? Think again. This isn't just a story of war, oil, and religion. It's a game of power, scripted by empires, funded by fear, and edited by silence. The US didn't just step in. It helped redraw borders, prop up dictators, and trigger revolutions. So, before you scroll away, ask yourself, what if everything you've been told was the cover story? Welcome to Shadow Force, where we don't just retell history, we expose the shadow behind it.
At the dawn of the 20th century, the Ottoman Empire was fading. Once the mighty ruler of the Islamic world, now called the sick man of Europe. But it still controlled most of the Middle East. Mecca, Medina, Damascus, Baghdad, all under Ottoman rule. The Arab people, ruled by a Turkish elite, were restless, and whispers of nationalism stirred beneath the surface. Still, few could predict that a global war would soon rip this empire apart, and even fewer knew how deeply the West was already plotting its next move. When World War I broke out in 1914, the Ottomans sided with Germany and the Central Powers. That brought them into direct conflict with Britain, and Britain had a plan. They reached out to Sharif Hussein of Mecca, the spiritual guardian of Islam's holiest cities, and offered him a deal. Start a revolt against the Ottomans, and in return, we'll help you create a single, independent Arab state after the war. Hussein agreed. But the British had already made another secret deal, the Sykes-Picot Agreement, with France. Under this, Britain and France would divide the Middle East between themselves. In June 1916, Sharif Hussein raised the flag of rebellion. The Arab Revolt had begun. Arab fighters, mostly tribal, poorly armed and scattered, attacked Ottoman railways and garrisons. They were motivated by freedom, but also by faith, revenge, and a sense of destiny. Enter T.E. Lawrence, a British officer who became the liaison between the Arabs and the British Army. Fluent in Arabic, wearing Bedouin robes, he didn't just advise, he led raids, blew up trains, and fought alongside Arab warriors. He became legendary, Lawrence of Arabia. The Arab Revolt was not a traditional war. It was guerrilla warfare, fought across burning deserts and endless dunes. The Arabs used surprise and sabotage. They hit Ottoman trains, ambushed troops, and vanished into the sands. One of their greatest victories came in 1917, when they captured the port of Aqaba, a turning point that allowed supplies to flow into the Arab campaign. Meanwhile, the British were pushing north from Egypt and Palestine, squeezing the Ottomans from two sides. As the Arab fighters moved deeper into Ottoman territory, their dream of an independent Arab state felt closer than ever. Damascus was in reach, freedom was near. But behind closed doors, Britain and France had no intention of keeping their word. In 1917, the Balfour Declaration added another twist. Britain pledged support for a Jewish homeland in Palestine, which contradicted Arab promises. When the war ended in 1918, Arab leaders expected sovereignty. Instead, France took Syria and Lebanon, and Britain took Iraq, Jordan, and Palestine, just as Sykes-Picot had planned. The Arab Revolt had helped win the war, but its people had been used, misled, and betrayed. From the ashes of World War I and the Ottoman Empire, new nations emerged. Iraq, ruled by a king appointed by the British, Syria, placed under French control, Saudi Arabia, forged by Ibn Saud in the power vacuum. Jordan and Palestine, caught between imperial borders and growing tensions. These were not peaceful transitions. Rebellions followed. People fought for independence all over again, this time not from Ottomans but from Europeans. And in Palestine, British promises to Jews and Arabs began a conflict that still burns today. You might wonder, where was the United States during all this? While America fought in World War I, it didn't play a major role in the Middle East carve-up. But that wouldn't last. The post-World War I chaos planted seeds of conflict, and decades later, the US would return to the region, this time as a superpower, arms dealer, and occupier. The Arab Revolt's legacy shaped not only Arab nationalism, but also the path the US would walk toward oil politics, military interventions, and complex alliances in the Middle East. Why does this story matter in 2025? Because many of today's crises, in Syria, Iraq, Israel-Palestine, Yemen, were born out of this revolt and its aftermath. The artificial borders, the foreign control, the betrayed promises, the rise of new power players. They all trace back to the Desert Storm of World War I. The Arab Revolt was supposed to bring liberation. Instead, it led to a century of unrest. And now, as the world watches war in Gaza, tension in Iraq, chaos in Syria, and growing US military presence across the region, we must ask, have we learned anything at all? If this story moved you, made you think, or helped you understand the present through the past, subscribe to Shadow Force, where history meets today's battlefield. We'll continue the journey, from Lawrence's desert raids to the rise of global empires. And trust us, this is only the beginning.
Still think the Middle East just spiraled out of control? Or maybe someone lit the fuse and left the scene. If you're ready for the stories behind the headlines, hit like, subscribe, share Shadow Force. Because history is never neutral, and neither are we.